I don't know who that is.
Yeah, back there.
He's back.
He's back there. All right, we're live again.
Okay, we're back.
So this is a continuation from the minute and 30-second clip that was interrupted by a customer because we're live in a shop doing work.
Unless, of course, I'm pooping.
This is what we do. So deep thoughts. Mark was talking about his education of LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, on top of increasing the quality of the stuff that we're doing, another thing that I'm doing is implementing using other social media outlets for this content. And just to start, the reason why I would encourage using social media is because if you take into consideration traditional advertising, if you were to try and get a newspaper, like a half pager or a full pager in a newspaper, depending on if it's local or national, that's like, it could be between $500 and $20,000. And then if you wanted to do like a billboard, just to get the creative is somewhere around $3,000 to make the creative before you even get to pay for the billboard, and the billboard itself is like, I think another $2,000 or $3,000 a month. So it's really, really cheap to do advertising on free things like social media. Actually, I was thinking, I'm gonna start looking at whoever has billboards in town and just call them and be like, hey, obviously you're spending money on these billboards, and I'm curious to see what your results are. Would you be interested in doing videos? I mean, if someone's, I think Joe Dat's got billboards. He's like, listen.
Joe Dat's face is everywhere.
It's everywhere. So if you're spending money on billboards, like, would you consider spending money on video, a full video campaign, and potentially, I'm even considering really getting into social media marketing. Everyone's doing it. I might as well do it myself. Actually, Lamar.
There are certain things like with financial businesses and I believe legal businesses where they have to watch how they spend their advertising dollars and where their advertising goes.
Because they have.
I don't know all the specifics.
They have very.
I know financial, like my dad can't advertise or necessarily market through social media.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it. Like he couldn't.
It's kind of like.
Really? Like he couldn't put money.
Like
into,
cigarette companies can't advertise. You know.
But he couldn't like spend $5 for a campaign. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if it's a matter of wording, because if in the regulations, I wonder. Okay, I imagine if it's.
I have put pictures of his logo on the Save the Stitches Facebook.
Yeah.
And had to take it down.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Some industries.
The securities and pushing.
Yeah. Okay, so in that respect, but I mean, I wonder if it's just a matter of outreach, because here's what I want to know, and this is unrelated to the main point, but I might as well talk about it, because this is a consideration. If you can't say, hey, my name is John Smith and I'll provide great financial services for you, you can't do that.
Well, it's like lawyers, this one I do know, lawyers can't call people and say, hey, let me give you my services.
Can a lawyer...
The potential client has to call them first.
I should actually ask Adam this. Can a lawyer put out educational videos and just for the sake of distribution...
They just can't give legal advice. They can do like the videos,
like how to fill out this form. Because I've seen a lot of this.
There's like just gray lines.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm wondering too.
The lawyers would know better than I do.
That's kind of what I'm wondering too in the financial services area. So anyways, it kind of applies, because there's three things that I've realized about LinkedIn, and this is from researching because I want to go into that direction, because most of the people that I want to work with are in corporate. One is the BNI model of Giver's Gain works the same way. It's just a little bit of a challenge because you're not in the same room with a lot of these people, and unless you're actively having conversations with people in that space, you won't build the relationships. Which brings me to point number 2. Social media very deliberately has social in the beginning of it, and what most people forget is that you have to actually be social on social media. I know that seems super obvious, but I've only started to really implement this by actually engaging in the platforms. Instagram is where I spend a lot of my time. And because Instagram has to be managed by robots, they have to create very specific rules as to what defines like socializing. And so as far as I can tell, in Instagram, and probably the same in LinkedIn because they can't actively have moderators watching this stuff all the time, the robots basically look at how much engagement you have. And I don't think it necessarily has to tie back to your posts. As long as you're engaging, they will push in whatever way. I don't want to use very specific terms, but in whatever way they'll make you more relevant. And I use that term loosely because relevance can have a very specific meaning in that industry. So the more that you use the social media, the more that you engage with other people, and I've made a practice of doing this, the more relevant you become. If you follow, there's a marketer named Gary Vaynerchuk. You can look him up and find him under Gary V. He calls it his $80 strategy. Basically meaning you pull up 90, in any given day, if you can, you pull up 90 posts or you start 90 conversations with people and just drop your 2 cents. It doesn't have to be anything long. If you see someone post a really nice picture of a sunset and you happen to know that that's in your area, for example, like you know that it's overlooking a bridge in Detroit, you say, oh wow, this is a beautiful shot of this bridge in Detroit. I've never seen the sunset this way. It's short, it's relevant, and it's not spammy like most people use other bots to send out like super generic comments like great post or awesome content. Like, don't do that. So the more relevant it is, the more it actually ties back to you having a continuing conversation. And I've actually found that to be the case, where if I say something somewhat vaguely related to that person's post, conversations do start. So you have to socialize on social media. So that's point 1, which is the whole Giver's Gain thing. Actually, I went over all 3 points. Point 1 was the Giver's Gain. So provide people with value. If you happen to see someone on LinkedIn who needs the services of somebody else in your network that you know, then do that. Actually got a little bit of clarification on that from Lewis Howes this morning because I watched a video of his from like 6 years ago. So that's content from 6 years ago and it's still relevant. Point 2 is socialize. Actually socialize on the platform. And then what ties into that whole socializing thing, to make it more specific, is the $80 strategy, which is just you drop your 2 cents on. You can try to hit 90 posts, 90 different unique conversations in any given day, and that should eventually get you more relevance on LinkedIn as a platform. The other part of it too is when people actually do come back and take a look at your LinkedIn profile, is not only should you have it as complete as you possibly could, but also try to be a very specific authority in that space. It's interesting with Zach here at Say With Stitches right now, because though this is specifically an embroidery and an apparel, I keep screwing this up, but custom embroidery, go ahead.
Embroidery, screen printing, and heat printing workshop.
There you
Custom apparel decoration workshop.
Custom apparel decoration workshop, okay.
The problem I have with that though is we don't really just do apparel.
Yeah, you do bags and other things.
Right, so
Could
like
you-
apparel and accessories, but what's an accessory really? Anyways, that's,
Is there a broader
The whole
term like
industry.
textiles? It's not really textiles though.
it's not textiles because I'm not
You're not doing
like
blankets
putting
and
the
napkins.
shirts together. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not sewing blankets.
The
Embroidery, screen printing, and heat printing.
Yeah. Custom
To
embroidery.
really take it to the basic level is we put logos and monograms
On your stuff.
on your stuff.
If it's got fabric that we can put needles through.
Yeah. Well, either way, I'll try and figure it out. Even
That's
if
true.
I can't do it, I'll find somebody who can.
We'll embroider your mugs. Anyways, so yeah, that's the other thing. Is like you also use it as a point of aggregating or basically compiling information, valuable information that people could use in your industry. So if you happen to make friends with other people who are in the custom embroidery, screen printing, and embroidery space, and you're friends with them, and they find information from you, or they're just starting, and you are putting out content on, say, how to price your work, then now you can be a what is that? An authority slash influencer in the space, and that's fundamentally how you make most of that social media now. And the cool thing about actually what's cool about
Millennial age
no for everybody.
influencers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for that word. Yeah. But what's cool about LinkedIn is it's a lot more focused than Facebook. It's kind of the same as Facebook, but it's more focused. Because with Facebook, you could talk about anything. And actually,
LinkedIn's really just business.
Yeah, and Facebook actually kind of works against you because most people kind of go to Facebook for escapism.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, we put out a lot of business content on Facebook, especially on both our pages, and tried to put it out on our.
I mean, I strive to make it entertaining. Though.
Yeah,
like,
and we do. Like we dance on video and
Yeah.
silly stuff.
I try not to sell to anybody because I don't like being sold to all the time. That's annoying. Like I hate the ads that pop up all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to try this. No, I don't.
Buy samurai t-shirts. I'm totally cool with the samurai t-shirts. But yeah. So actually, now that I say that out loud, I kind of want to hammer down on
Being a samurai.
well, that's always been there. But I want to hammer down on LinkedIn a little more because it is more specific.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna
From
do
the
more
corporate
work from, like,
clientele.
can I mention Sun? Can I just mention the name? Sun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Like if you wanted to do more work with like the Sun Hydraulics of the world and the Tandem Constructions of the world, those are the people. Those people are gonna be there. So I would actually.
I do love my Sun Hydraulics and my
Yeah.
Constructions.
Yeah, and I want more of those myself. So that was kind of the logic for me.
Well, I was reading another thing too about, the quality of the client and the quality of the work,
Mhm.
like how they correlate,
Yeah.
where the people that want to hold you to a higher bar are typically willing to pay
Yes.
to make sure you hit that higher bar.
Yes.
And that's what I like to do. I like the people that actually give me a little bit of a challenge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or expect things to be perfect because that's where I thrive. you
Yeah.
know?
No, it is. Like you kind of have to be right there on the cutting edge of like doing what you know is familiar and really being able to execute on that, but also just having enough of a challenge where you're like pushed out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why for me, like, you don't want to do this unnecessarily. Like, you want to like go bankrupt yourself. But I don't know where to look. I'm like, is the lens over there? Or the lens over there? I think it's over here, right? Yeah, the lens is over there. It's up there. But like I just bought a new piece of equipment. So it's like $2,000 for the camera, another $100 for the memory card because it takes specific memory cards. It's a lot that went into it. And I didn't even buy the lens to actually use natively on there. I bought another $300 adapter to use my old lenses so I can save money. But now the quality is up, but my workflow has slowed down like by 4 times because my computer is 2000, like 9 years old.
Speaking of workflow,
Yeah, you gotta keep the workflow flowing. I was talking. Damn it. Well, yeah. Yeah. I really like the colors on that. And just in camera too.
it's
Did you change
the Pixel 2. No, this is all factory.
This is how it is? Okay, cool.
I don't mess with
It's
settings too much.
baked in, and I like,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
nice.
like to, other than the resolution, like the 4K and 1080. Like I know at one point I did have it on 4K.
Yeah, that's
I
kind of
forgot that I took it off.
that's kind of where I want colors right now.
Yeah.
It actually is. So that's kind of winning in that.
Pixel 2, Google.
It's
My
alright.
my entire life is in it.
I already dropped like
Google, you own me.
$2,500 on a camera system, so I'm married to that. I won't be getting any new phones anytime soon.
Oh, it's like this learning curve with the Chromebook that I bought. Everything is basically on the browser.
Yeah.
Like there isn't really any, like you can download stuff, but that's not how it was made. Like it was made for all your stuff
Chromebook.
to be on the Google Cloud.
By the way, before you all get lost. Oh, before you get lost. That's another little tidbit I learned about shooting video. You don't talk directly to a person. You never want to say you guys, y'all, any of that stuff, because the idea is that
Y'all.
you're having a conversation with one person.
Y'all.
So that's something I've actually implemented very recently. And cutting down my verboseness to very specific topics. Because people want quick in and out topics. Anyways, I'm wrapping on that because I gotta poop, but I gotta get this going.
He's got to poop. All right. Thank you guys for whoever ends up watching this.